This is awesome.
Oh, Clark, hey. Good to see you among the living, man. Check it out. It's the latest talent mix.
Thanks, Pete.
Good to see you all among the living. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Talon Mix. It is a Smallville recap podcast. We're back in the swing of things. Brian's here. Zach's here. We're back in the swing of things. We're moving. Episode 2. Season 6, episode 2.
This week on an all-new Smallville, Clark gets the sniffles.
This is it's Zach. So I wasn't like super hype on the last episode. I went into this one. I'm like, oh, it's called Sneeze. That's a good sign. And that's leading back to like, the old days where it's just like, Clark learns a new power. This is the worst Clark learns a new power episode, I think.
It's definitely the worst one yet. I'm trying to think if it's the last one. What powers do we have left? I'm sure the wiki will tell us at the end of the episode.
I'm sure you're right.
Flying. It's not. There's no like Clark learns to fly episode.
Right. It's that was missing. Yeah, they really didn't do that. Bummer.
Yeah.
Did they have to stick to No Tights, No Flights once Goff and Miller left? It was dumb.
It was absurd. We'll talk about that when we get to it, but it was absurd to hold out as long as they did because he was Superman for the last 3 seasons.
Right. Just
under a different name.
It was a post-X-Men thing where you can't do the costume. X-Men kind of blew it.
Right.
Is the thing. So this week we watched Sneeze. It's the second episode in the 6th season of Smallville. It's the 112th episode overall. It aired October 5th, 2006. My birthday is October 8th. We had a whole episode that was around my birthday. I think that's the first episode of the podcast feed. Sorry if that's your first one.
Season 3. Yeah.
Sorry if you haven't been with us from the Twitch days and the we didn't post them days.
Yeah, sorry if you're not me or Brian.
We have to go before. I know we're halfway done, and I know I shouldn't be adding more to our plate because we have so many other things. We talk all the time about other projects we want to do, but we should go back and we should make the show whole, right?
We did, Brian. We put in the time for that.
I know, but it was practice to get to here. And then, listen, Zach, they're gone. They're gone.
It's gonna be weird. Like, you can't post them like they came out first. It would have to be start with 3.
No, I would post-date them. I would fully post-date them as secret backlog episodes. One day, we're going to complete the feed. No rush. No timeline.
I might be willing when we get there. I'm focused on getting to 10 and finishing.
We got to do something special for when we get to 10, right?
Oh, yeah. We got to go to Vancouver.
We got to go to Vancouver to do it.
Broadcast from the clock tower.
We do have to do it. Y'all will learn about the clock tower. Today, we gotta do it in Vancouver. I
wonder if you can do backlot tours of their backlot that they create because they build a whole backlot set for seasons 8, 9, 10. That's like Metropolis because they can't afford to do on location anymore.
Right. Oh wow.
I wonder if you can do tours of the backlot. Like
you think there's no way that's still standing. Like the sets aren't still.
I mean,
but the lot.
It's a street corner. It's a street corner.
Oh,
they could probably use it for other stuff.
Oh, sure. Either way, we definitely have to do it in Vancouver. We have a couple. We have a couple years to figure it out.
Yeah.
We have to bare minimum do it together. Bare minimum, we have to do it together. Same room.
Of course. Yes. In person. Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Bare minimum, but we have a couple years to figure it out. Because once again, I will remind people, if you jumped on during the Batman season or it's been a while, Zach and I, we've always stayed in touch since film school. I think we've texted all the time. We've had a very fulfilling friendship, but it was only doing this podcast that we started like hanging out again regularly.
This was recording this podcast was it 2021, 2022, when we started, was the first time I had heard your voice or seen your face since 2007.
Over a decade. And now you get to hear this every week.
Oh man!
All right, so we should get into the recap, huh? I'm of course reading directly from the Smallville wiki, smallville.fandom.com. It's early morning at the Kent farm, and Martha is listening to the news, which reports that the world has begun to recover from Dark Thursday. To be clear, it's funny not enough. We just say dates. Like January 6th is just January. We just say the date it happened. Dark Thursday.
Dark Thursday sounds like a busy shopping day.
Yeah, right.
Or something like that. Or like it's when it's like No Nut November or something. It's like everyone agreed not to use their phones on Thursday or something.
But efforts in Metropolis are progressing the fastest. So this was a world problem. The apocalyptic something.
Yeah.
I don't quite know what happened.
The power went out. People started looting.
Yeah, right. So it took me a second. It opens on a news broadcast that's like, oh man, recovery efforts in Metropolis are going real fast, which I thought was them blanketing like, we're not doing like rubble and shit. We're done with that. We're done. Everything's back to normal now. We're done. And I was willing. Smallville has conditioned me to be okay with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But they do imply that Clark has been doing a lot of work in that, which, okay.
How? But I want to know how without anyone noticing.
Because here's the thing.
Wasn't this building in rubble the other day?
If you just didn't mention it, I wouldn't have thought about it. But you mentioned it, and now I'm thinking about it. So, just then, Clark comes home, and Martha guesses that he's been out all night repairing things in Metropolis. Clark explains that he feels like this whole mess is his fault because he didn't defeat Zod quickly enough. There's a line here that, this is all his fault, basically, and, because I didn't listen to Jor-El. You've never listened to Jor-El. There are so many problems that have resulted from you not listening to Jor-El. This is the time you're finding like, I should have done it. Your father would be alive if you listened to Jor-El's, Clark. Not to like victim blame here. I'm not saying Jor-El's not the asshole, but like your dad's dead because you didn't fucking keep up with your appointments with Jor-El. Actually, Clark.
He's definitely fishing for reassurance from Martha. Man,
Absolutely.
this is all my fault.
It's all my
If
fault.
only I didn't. If Martha was like, yeah, it's true. You fucked up.
No, man, fucked up, dude.
This isn't your fault, sweetie. You can't blame yourself.
So he looks exhausted, and Martha asks him to take a break and get some rest. He insists on starting his farm chores in the... Okay, Clark, it's all good, brother. You're all good in that farm. That farm's fine. What are they...
Still not sure what you produce.
Yeah, what do you farm here on this farm? I haven't seen a goddamn animal. That's why, apart from that dog. Like, you milking that dog, Clark?
There's cows in establishing shots.
Right, of course. So in the barn, Clark is repairing some steps. What's wrong with the steps, Clark? It's just you and your mom here. Who's fucking up those steps, brother?
No, it was from the barn was collapsing or something.
Oh, right.
Right? But here's the thing. What's the rush to fix the steps? That you can just jump up to the top of the loft. Your mom doesn't need to get up there right away. Just chill.
Yeah, right. Just chill. Just chill, Clark. He can't chill. He's guilty. He feels guilty, so he's got to fix all of it.
He's got no chill.
He's got no chill. If there's one thing we can say about Clark Kent, no chill.
No chill.
The only time he had chill, the one time in this show Clark Kent had chill, it's the witch episode where he's shirtless at the party and he's just sort of like dancing.
It's because he's cursed. Though.
Yes.
Because he's been
cursed with chill.
I want the what color kryptonite makes him chill? That would be amazing. Like,
yeah, that's
makes
it.
him basically like stoned.
Yeah,
it's like it's all good, man. Everything's
it's all
fine.
fucking good, man.
Oh no, not the turquoise kryptonite. He just gets really hungry and wants to snack.
And like Zod is taking over the world, and he just shrugs and goes, "Whatever, man."
He's like, "Whatever." You want to watch Wizard of Oz with Pink Floyd playing?
Oh man, I love weed. Oh man, it's, I watched. Emily and I got. We had our. I was out of town for 420, and my wife and I are lame and have a particular weed themed celebration for 420 every year. And so we had a sleepover themed 420 party, and by party I mean just us stoned on the couch. And we did face masks and foot peels, and we got super mega stoned and watched the, I want to say 2004 film Sleepover starring Alexa Vega.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, I think this movie was pretty under the radar, not super watched, not a big hit. Thank God. It's an insane movie that it's a PG movie that I think should be rated R. Like, just through its implications. I would rather my child watch Superbad than this fucking movie, you know? Like, which obviously, like, Superbad is a real movie that's good, but like this, as far as like adult content.
Give me a little more. Give me some examples.
So the predication of the movie, the general driving force of the movie is the teens. They're the eighth graders. They're on a scavenger hunt, and one of the things that they need someone to buy them a drink, so they sneak into a club. Alexa Vega finds her teacher.
Wait, male teacher?
Male teacher. There's a setup here with an online dating service and a talk of like a dress she's gonna be in, and this teacher takes a long time to realize this is his 8th grade student. It's in real life, this interaction only goes no, and then he runs out and gets hit by a bus because that's better than dealing with whatever the fuck. Like, no one's gonna believe you. It's so gross and weird, and like it's the kind of gross and weird that's in. They know, and they're working around it of like, this is weird. How do we get out of it? And you can't make it not weird. What's just happened in the scene. It's not that I blame the actor, because like, man, it's tough out there. You got to do what you got to do, right? The actor playing this teacher. Sure. But I want to know that this is like a low spot for you. I want this actor to tell me, you don't have to apologize, but I want this actor to say like, oh man, it's just rough out there, man. Who am I to turn down a part? Like, Sleepover. It's on Tubi right now. And my wife went full spiral on it. Fully spiral. I was like, this is massively compelling as a piece of garbage. My wife was like, no, bad, pedophile movie, bad.
She had a bad trip.
Yes. Had a bad time with it.
That's so funny that you mention all that because it reminds me of the movie I watched just the other night for the first time. I had never seen it. It's almost 20 years old now. I think it's over 20 years old. And that is a little movie called Old Boy.
Great. I saw that in theaters when it was doing its run.
Oh.
Incredible, right?
Brian.
Incredible, right?
Oh.
It's heavy, man.
Oh. And I kind of already knew that the twist.
Yeah, it's fucking rough, brother.
I knew it, but that didn't make it any easier.
No! It's real rough, brother.
Oh, Brian. That is the most mean-spirited fucking movie.
That movie's fucked up.
I respect and appreciate the craft, certainly. And I can take a step back enough to recognize it's a quality film.
Oh, you had a bad time, huh?
Oh, it's so miserable. Oh. No, there are some joys to be had in that movie. Of
It's
course,
that hallway fight scene. It's funny to reverse engineer, and there's Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem does it. The Batman does that. It's all that is a very important action scene.
Yeah, totally.
In a bummer ass movie.
Oh man. And the ending, spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen it. The ending, I won't even say it's fucked up.
It's massively fucked up.
They just stay together at the end.
Yep.
He erases his memories so that they can just stay together.
It's fucked up. Oh man, I really, really like that movie. The Spike Lee remake sucks.
I have not seen that. I can't imagine an American version of that movie. I can't. But I did go to YouTube to watch his version of the hammer fight, and I thought it was pretty good. The Spike Lee.
Sure, I mean it's still Spike Lee. It's more just philosophically bad, it's not.
Right, yeah.
Spike Lee didn't fuck it up as much as he made bad choices,
Yeah.
But that's for another.
That's
time.
another one where apparently there's a 3-hour version that he wanted to release that's better.
I'm more inclined to believe Spike Jonze than Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
Spike Lee. God.
Yeah.
Well, maybe if we have a podcast where we get into hyper specific genres, American remakes might be something. It might be a good list of things.
Magnificent Seven.
Yeah.
You got a lot of good ones.
So once again, hypothetically, if we were to have a podcast where we dove into marathons of hyper specific genres, roughly 3 to 8 films per series. I don't know, but just hypothetically, just pulling things out of my ass here. So in the barn, Clark is repairing some steps when he releases a sneeze that is so powerful it blows the barn door off its hinges and into the sky. Much to Clark's shock, Lois is out jogging and is startled when it suddenly falls out of the sky to land upright into the field next to her. Good to see Lois back. Lois didn't have much to do in the last episode.
No, she just talked about her near-death experience and got gaslit. And
she doesn't have much more to do here, but
no. But this episode is we're introducing Lois as journalist now.
Yes,
right.
We have a lot of Nietzsche journalism. Not quite Nietzsche lines. It's a Nietzsche subplot.
Right.
And we love Erica Durance on this show. We love Erica Durance. A shining bright spot. Martha takes Clark's temperature, but he doesn't have a fever. He says it's the first time he sneezed or had a scratchy throat or plugged up ears. I thought that was funny. It was what do you mean he's never sneezed before? I'm like, yeah, all right, I buy it, sure.
Yeah.
He got fucking Phantom Zone COVID.
I was going to say, maybe we can cut him a little slack because he's new at this, but you gotta quarantine, bro.
You have to fucking. It's.
No one wants your Kryptonian virus.
Yeah, who knows what you're just fucking spreading, brother?
Yeah,
I didn't even think of that.
Sneezing on people.
Clark!
You could wipe out the human race with this shit. We don't know
Did
what
we
that
just learn
thing
Clark
is.
Kent is anti-mask?
He's totally one of those people who walks around like, oh, don't worry, I'm not contagious. The fuck do you know?
The fuck do you know about
That
fuck?
always drives me nuts when people are like sick and they're like, oh, don't worry, I'm not contagious. It's like, you have no idea if you're contagious or not. You
Right.
have no idea.
Right. I had
There's no way for you to know.
I had a
No way for you to know.
family member who said, "Oh, this was we're in like deep COVID," who was, and I think there was a lot of stuff going around for everybody, right? But this family member was talking about meeting up and having a trip with a bunch of friends, and was like, well, we all have really strong immune systems. Like, just say you don't give a shit. I would respect you more if you're like, I don't care about this, rather
Don't
than
piss
telling
on my
me
leg.
you all have strong immune systems.
Tell me it's raining.
Right. Yes.
You fucking, that's great.
It took everything that this family member was not on my side of the family, so I could not be like, fuck you. So Martha reasons that he must have caught something when he was in the Phantom Zone without his powers. Which I don't know if I need. This is a continual sticking point of, I don't love the idea that Superman's powers are powers, right? They're just a reflection of his Kryptonian biology. I sound like a fucking virgin. I've had sex at least one time. But I can't go down this rabbit hole. It's fucking stupid. Clark says he's not really that sick. Just then, Lois returns. She tells them about the airborne barn door. Then notices the large hole where it used to be. Clark and Martha try to provide an explanation, but Lois intends to get to the bottom of it.
You would think they would be better at gaslighting and lying at this point.
You would think.
Don't they know it's way more suspicious for you to be like, oh, it's probably nothing, or it's probably that thing, than to be like, yeah, that's really fucking weird. How the fuck did that happen?
Right.
Right? She's not going to be like, oh, maybe it's because you're an alien.
Right.
You know, like, you could also be like, that's insane. What the fuck?
What the
is going on with the
fuck?
barn door?
It's also, I'm really just putting together now, like, Lois can't live with you. Hey, I'm going to live here. Nah, you can't do that. Because I got a lot of shit going on over here.
Unless you just want to tell her, like, which would be really easy.
Which should be really easy. Everyone so far has been fine with it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's,
Lionel knows.
Lionel knows.
Lionel knows.
You told Lionel over your... You trusted Lionel before you trust the woman who will become your wife.
I mean, he didn't tell Lionel, but Lionel knows and it's fine.
I guess that's fair. But still, it's to be clear, anyone out there, you tell me anything, and and just I accept this to be true of my brothers, like, who are married, like, anyone who's married. You tell me something that's secret, unless you explicitly say, like, I'm telling my wife immediately.
Yeah, for sure.
Immediately. And that still counts. That is...
As long as she doesn't tell anyone. 'Cause
As
if
long as she doesn't tell
that counts
anyone.
as you telling someone else.
But then I've told that person, correct?
Exactly. Yes.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
Yep.
But within the walls of my house.
You're responsible for that.
Correct. Exactly correct. And like now within the walls of the house, I can then be like, Emily, why'd you tell that thing I asked you not to tell? But like, no, but correct. Legally, that comes back to me.
So literally Clark's best strategy for gaslighting here would be to be like Lois is like, what happened to the barn door? Him to be like, I sneezed and it flew off in 20 miles. That's what happened.
That worked
she'd be
great.
like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. I think Lex tries
Any other
literally that
reaction?
later this episode.
Yeah. Any other reaction from you, Clark, is suspicious.
Right.
If you're
I don't know. You're crazy.
it's nothing. It's not
There was never a barn door there, Lois. Crazy bitch.
You're a fucking psycho.
You're a fucking
Mom, don't let her
psychopath.
stay here. She's crazy. You're crazy.
Nuts. She thinks there was a barn door there on the barn.
Where there's pieces of a barn door still.
Maybe it's up in heaven where you went.
Crazy motherfucker.
Crazy bitch. So Lex is taking Lana to the Luther mansion because she explains she needs a place to stay while Met-U recovers from the destruction. Sure, she's been there already for a while. She's been sleeping at the
Yeah.
Luther mansion for a while, as far as we've seen on camera.
Not the Luther Mansion, the Kent farm.
We've seen Lana.
Oh,
wake
you're talking
up
about I'm sorry, I was thinking Lois. Sorry.
Oh,
Yes.
no, we're
Lana.
way past
Yes.
Lois.
Yes. You know what's funny though? I didn't realize, and we learn at the end of the episode that they're sleeping in separate rooms.
I thought they woke up in a bed together. That seems fake.
That's some weird CW.
That's some
shit.
weird
Like,
CW shit.
You're if you're dating someone and you're staying in the same building as them, you're sleeping in their bed, right? Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Although canonically they have not boned yet.
I don't believe that. You can canon this way, that way. They boned. There is a shot where she wakes up in his bed. They are together in a bed, and she wakes up. I think
don't
it's like
think you
I think
can.
it's the season 5, one of those 2 episodes, the finale or the penultimate.
You cannot live in the same house as someone before you've boned romantically. Like
Correct.
obviously, if you're like
Correct.
if you're platonic sharing a
Right,
house,
of
that's
course.
different.
Of
but
course.
you cannot skip that step.
No, bone first. Just if anyone out, bone first. What are you doing? What are you
Well, you
doing?
need to figure out if that part is working before you can move in.
Right, because then what if you move
Right.
in and the boning is bad?
Yeah, exactly. You need to really do your diligence.
That's not how leases work. You can't break a lease because of bad boning.
It's in the lease. It says right here. Oh man.
Oh man. I did when my wife and I moved in together fast, right? That's New York City. Turns
Right.
out it's one of those things where I had roommates and like they didn't want to, and I didn't know these guys from before I moved in. I just moved in, and they were not stoked that I met a girl and she hung out all the time, you know?
Yeah.
And kind of vice versa. So for her, so it just quickly becomes like I needed a place. And it was like, well, why don't we just move in together? We hang out all the time, and no roommates are like stoked. Like, I got this girlfriend. It's gonna hang out all the time because I like hanging out with her.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
So we moved in quick, and that's a very common New York story, right? So I had met her parents, but I had not been down to Virginia yet, where I live now. I had not been down to Virginia yet when we had lived together. So I went down for Thanksgiving, and they had us sleeping in separate bedrooms the night we got in.
Stop it.
And my wife had to they're Southern Protestants, and like they just, how else would you do it? It wasn't like a conscious decision they were making. That's just what you would do. And my wife had to have a conversation of like, we live together.
That's even if you didn't live together, it's insane.
It is insane.
It's insane to be like they're sleeping in a different bed.
It is insane. But we had to break down a door that my sister-in-law later didn't have to deal with it. That said, and like I don't know, I'll in theory have to deal with it at some point as a parent, and I guess it'll be interesting. Like my parents had to have my brother Patrick was the first one to like have a girl stay over while we were like living at home. He had a girlfriend and she stayed over one night. My parents didn't have to have like, are we okay with that? And I guess, if you don't think about it until you have to think about it.
Yeah.
And they came to like, I guess that's fine. Okay. So Lex is taking Lana to the Luthor mansion because she explains she needs a place to stay while Met-U recovers from the destruction. He seems distracted and paranoid. Upon arriving, Lex questions his private investigator Pontius, who confirms Lex's suspicion that he is being followed. Lex instructs Lana that if anything happens to him to call Pontius, not the police. He later goes to visit Lionel and accusing him of having him followed. Lionel denies it, I believe, with a line that is like, if I was having you followed, you'd never know.
Yeah. Believe me, son. Yeah.
Which actually is what I'm going to say now if I'm accused of anything. If I did the thing...
If I want to do it, you have no idea.
If I paid this bill, you wouldn't even know. Lionel denies it, but suggests that Lex recall what happened on Dark Thursday. Lex maintains that he has no memory of what happened beyond what Lana told him. Lionel offers to help, but Lex storms off. In the elevator, gas is suddenly released and Lex falls unconscious. A man drops from the ceiling and collects him.
Ooh, collecting Lex. I finally got the Lex. I got him. We're so close to concussions here, and it's just not happening for us.
They knew it. They knew at this point that we'd be keeping track of them now. And we're not the first podcast to keep track of concussions, but we were the one they were worried about. Okay, Clark goes to the Daily Planet to tell Chloe about his sneeze. Don't do that! Call her on the phone from your house where you're staying!
Let me go to this really busy hub in this giant city.
You're patient zero! You've killed everyone!
And I'm not just patient zero who like has normal sneezes. My sneezes hit everyone in the entire room with a blast of
with, to be clear, an intergalactic virus from any one of the, 28 known galaxies?
Yeah, he's fucking out there just like, oh yeah, I'm just, no big deal. I'm just out here spreading the Andromeda strain.
There is a, okay. All right. So basically what my understanding is that by any means, anyone feel free to be like, you don't know shit about fuck. But the Vikings tried basically to end up in North America. And the people who lived here sent them off packing. Like fucking horns, bearded fucking Vikings. And the Native Americans were like, fuck you, get out of here. And then diseases hit from elsewhere, and then the Europeans came and basically stole it. If they had not gotten sick...
Right, yeah.
Who the fuck knows what would have happened there, right? Like, had the numbers not been depleted. Absolutely. That level... And that's from something they picked up from somewhere else on Earth.
Right, yes.
Now introduce something from one of the 28 known galaxies.
And let's keep in mind that this is a virus that weakens Superman.
It's like, oh, well, maybe you picked it up while you didn't have your powers and the Phantoms. Well, he has them now.
Yeah. Maybe this will kill. It's just a sniffle for him, but it instantly kill anyone on Earth. We don't know.
Almost like
Stay home.
Almost like if you're doing fine with COVID, it's the idea is you don't spread COVID to someone who isn't doing as well with their immune system. Except it's Clark who's Superman. And then it's everyone else who's not Superman. If this was the last episode of Smallville, it would make sense.
Chloe, I just came to tell you that I'm really sick and I don't know what's going on. Achoo! Sorry, it's really weird. I keep sneezing.
Chloe's
and
dead.
Stuff all over everyone.
Chloe's in the ICU. She's dead. So she's unconcerned until he sneezes again, blowing papers and books all over the office. He explained.
Did you catch the lady's skirt gets blown up and you see her butt?
I missed the butt.
Oh, yeah. You get to see her underwear and butt briefly. But...
Wah, wah, wee, wah. There was I saw Fate of the Furious, Fast and Furious 8 with my brother in a movie theater. And there was a young man, I would say around 12, 13, with another young man seated next to us. It's Fast and Furious. There's a lot of beautiful women in swimwear frequently throughout the movie. It's very James Bond in that kind of way. And anytime there was a butt on the screen, this young 12 or 13-year-old man was so visibly excited and pointing at the screen, making sure his buddy also saw the 3-story butt on the screen. That it's both simultaneously you can see a butt anytime on the internet. Wait till you find out about the internet, kid. There's literally a cornucopia of butts just waiting for you to discover. But also the adolescent passion. I really respected it.
That's the best way I've ever heard the internet described, as a cornucopia of butts.
Yeah. I mean, what else is it? It's butts and dudes talking about fucking Smallville.
Yeah. Oh, man. Cornucopia of butts. That's the title of the episode.
That's the title of the episode. So Clark explains that Lois is digging into the errant barn door. Chloe tells him to take care of his cold and she'll deal with Lois. What are you gonna do?
I'll go gaslight her some more.
Yeah, right. I'll help you with your lies. Hey, why did you weave a tangled web about the barn door when you're right, Zach? What you could have done was, I don't know.
Look, do you need to do anything here?
Nothing.
If you're Chloe or Clark?
Nothing.
What's Lois gonna do?
What's Lois gonna do?
Who's gonna
trace it back to your fucking powerhouse sneeze? If she catches your powerhouse sneeze, you're in additional trouble. No one in this newsroom notices Clark's terrible sneeze.
No, and no, yeah, the giant gust of wind. But Lois is like, hey,
that showed a lady's underpants. Sorry.
This barn door fell out of nowhere. And someone be like, that's weird. No newspaper is going to be like, let's get to the bottom of this.
Not a one. Not a one.
And if they did, no one would be like, it's probably because that boy's an alien. I think you just leave it alone. If you're Clark or Chloe, any work you put into it, it's going to make it worse.
This episode is maybe I was excited by the sneeze, the super sneeze. I'm like, oh, we are so back, baby. And then I think what I texted you was, man, this episode maybe lacks adventure. Yes. And a part of that is everyone in this episode would be better off if everyone did nothing.
Right.
If everyone,
Clark,
if
they'll
every
do nothing,
character
yeah.
just did nothing, everything would be better. Which is not great for your action-adventure soap opera TV series.
That's an amazing point. I want you to appear as a character on the show and tell everyone, if all of you just did nothing, all of your lives would be better. That's how much of failures all of you are as people.
So typically...
Just do less.
So typically, in a story, there's a call to adventure, right? And like, hey, you have to do this or a bad thing will happen. Don't do shit and nothing will happen. And all of the characters instead do everything and make a mess of things.
Yes, and the nothing would be better than the something.
Extremely. Okay, so back at home, Clark is feeling worse, but Lionel shows up and asks Clark to find Lex. I guess we have a call to adventure here. That's legitimate. Lionel suggests that if Lex is tortured long enough, he might remember being Zod and reveal Clark's secret. I mean, if that's what we're doing, it seems like the move here is to rescue Lex and then maybe accidentally slip some fingers into his brain.
Yes, maybe sneeze in his face.
It's I kind of Clark's line here is, Lex and I have nothing to do with each other now. Why would I rescue him?
I don't care about Lex.
I don't care.
I don't care. Fuck that guy.
Fuck that guy. Lois shows Chloe the barn door, and Chloe tries to make up an explanation of a mini tornado, but Lois is skeptical. Once again, say nothing.
Mini
Weird.
tornado means you are clearly somehow responsible for this barn.
If also
situation.
If I'm
you come up
future,
with that explanation.
if I'm future Pulitzer journalist Lois Lane,
Yeah, right.
hey, everything y'all said was weird. Lois is skeptical. She writes an article about it and gives it to Chloe. Convinced that the planet needs to know. The planet is in Daily Planet. Chloe is not supportive and criticizes her writing skills. I also don't quite... I don't know if you even have to get into her writing as more as the Daily Planet doesn't accept unsolicited fucking articles about...
Right, exactly. Yeah, I can't just give this to my boss. That's not how this works.
That's not how this works.
Like Chloe's still working in the basement. Like she's not like in a position. If
right.
she's going to show her boss any writing, it's going to be hers.
Right. There's nothing to show. She would be in trouble if she showed.
Right, yeah. Like, don't ever do that again.
Okay, so not discouraged, Lois vows to shop her story elsewhere. Yeah, work your way down from the Daily Planet, the most prestigious newspaper in DC Comics.
Yeah, the New Yorker won't take my short story.
It's about butts. Okay. I even think the New Yorker taking an unsolicited short story is more likely than this, you know? Of like, a short story can be really good and be like...
Right.
I mean, I guess so can a news article, but like not about this.
But they would send their own they would be like, you're going to have someone write this article.
Right.
Who works for us.
Right. Who are they? He works for us.
But yeah, you don't have to buy a story from someone if it's like just out there.
Right.
You can go get it yourself.
Right. But like a good enough short story, the New Yorker might be like, that is a really good short story.
Yeah.
Okay, so Lex wakes up strapped to a chair in a lab lined with a chain link fence. He is approached by hyperlink Orlando Block. He claims he saw Lex's powers on the only working satellite, the satellite from Batman and Robin, as we learned last week, on Dark Thursday, and threatens to kill Lex if he doesn't reveal their source, the source of the powers. Block's helper, Wagner, objects to his methods, saying they were instructed not to harm him. Block doesn't care and shoots Lex to make him start talking. Lex insists that he doesn't have powers anymore and even tells the truth that an alien being inhabited him and is gone now. Block doesn't believe him, so Lex finally makes up a story that he injected himself with a serum that is located at Luthor Corp. Block sends Wagner after it.
I just realized Lex doesn't remember what happened when Zod was in his body.
Memory loss, baby.
Memory loss from last episode.
I also love here Lex's, like, once again, Lex could kind of just be like, I mean, I guess telling the truth does the same thing, but you could just be like, it's Luthor Corp, man. It's $1 billion serum. I took the only thing that we can't recreate it. It's done.
Yeah, right.
That would be very plausible. There's a lot of things you could say in this chair that would be very plausible.
How many times has Lex been shot at this point? He's like 50 Cent. He's been shot like 9 times at this point.
It's a lot of times. Next time around, we got to keep track of how many times does Lex get shot. So Clark goes to the mansion, but only... Sorry, we had a technical hiccup there. Clark goes to the mansion, but only finds Lana there. She refuses to tell Clark anything about Lex because she thinks that Clark is only trying to cover his own secrets. Lana! Lex is missing!
Lana, you're 100% on the money.
I mean, yeah, but... Yep.
I love Clark, or Welling gives this amazing look when they're talking and Lana says, I want answers to Clark. And Welling almost does an eye roll. Like, yeah, whatever. Like, I'm not going to give you answers, obviously. It's not like the usual, like, I'm covering up. Like, what are you talking about? It's like, yeah, well, I want a new car. Like, not going to happen.
We're in, what do you want me to say, Lex territory?
Yeah, totally. They're post breakup. You know, she's moved on. He's like, fuck you. I'm not telling you shit.
It is. We do have an issue with Lana right now of, like, I do think the more adversarial relationship is on paper. Lana, the problem is on paper interesting. And I can see season to season on paper this is interesting, and it continues to just not be. It's any time, and it's not Kristen Crook's fault at all. I think we've been very clear about that this entire show. But every time Lana's in a story,
they're just trying so hard, and I think maybe they tried too many things. It's because her character does whatever they need her to do that given scene. She doesn't feel like a real person.
Yes, that's exactly it.
It's all the writing. It's
entirely all the writing. You're entirely correct. And her and Welling have some chemistry. They do have some chemistry. Not as much as Erica Durrance, who's right there.
No.
Boy, I'd rather see more of that.
And look, there is a little juice in this scene where she's like, I'm fucking over your horse shit. And he's like, yeah, fuck, I don't give a fuck anymore. Like, yeah, obviously I'm not going to tell you.
I think the fact that there is a little juice in this scene just only is like highlighting to me how little juice there is, largely. Right. It's like, oh, there's something. It's just not quite anything.
Right.
So when he leaves, she calls Pontius, but only gets a voicemail. Clark hears her and super speeds away. Lana searches Lex's desk and finds a remote control to a security camera network. The largest television displays her bedroom, and she rewinds the tape and watches herself undress. Of course, we get a tasteful back and bra, like bra clasp. She then watches another camera and sees Lex and Pontius's early conversation, learning Lex's location. I'm not saying this is chill or good or fine. However, I am like, I don't think Lex is reviewing these tapes. I do not think Lex is in this big room like shirking it.
No, of course not. But I also think Lana being shocked that there's security cameras at Luther Mansion is ridiculous.
Oh, so yes.
Wait till you wait till you hear about the Clark room. Don't go in that broom closet. Don't go in there. There's
if some bare back and a bra clasp is the worst he's got on you, wait till you see the giant room of the high schooler.
I don't just have a Clark room. It's not weird. I have a Lana room. I have a Chloe room.
I have room for everyone. Zach, would that be more weird or less weird?
There's no more weird than it already is. It would be same weird. It's a lateral weird.
I actually think I'm going to go in a different direction. I think if he had an equal room for everyone, it would at least be consistent with his own weird little vibe.
I guess I don't think it would be less weird, but I would feel less weird if I was Clark, because I'd be like, okay, I guess he does that for
Maybe
everyone.
that's it. Maybe that's it.
Yeah. It's still fucking weird behavior.
Hey, and if you're listening to this right now, if you're listening to this on YouTube right now, more or less weird. Comment right now, more or less weird.
And give us that thumbs up.
And give us that thumbs up. Give it to us.
Here's a question. And maybe they addressed it in the episode and I didn't hear it. When did Lex install this security camera system in the mansion?
Great cue.
Because unless it was last week, he's caught Clark doing a bunch of shit on camera. Literally, the last episode, Clark was doing super shit in the mansion versus Zod.
You know, and Lex says, hey, those tapes are only reviewed in an emergency, of which there are at least 6 a season.
I mean, we've talked about how, like, it's insane Lex doesn't have cameras because Clark does all this shit in his apartment. And so it must canonically be that he just got the idea. It was like, okay, enough times aliens have attacked my house that I need to just start putting cameras up.
I need to put cameras up. That's the only explanation.
It's the only explanation. Unless Clark always, every time, just went back and destroyed the tapes for when he was doing that shit, but that would be weird.
Right.
Also, I think Lex would be onto him.
Right. Okay. I'm going to play a clip here. I'm screen sharing it now.
Screen sharing. Brian, screen sharing.
Also, Zach can't hear it, so he'll have to remember from when we watch it. So we're gonna play this clip silently so that y'all can hear it. Lionel is entering Oliver Queen's apartment. It's sort of the interior of it's a loft, the interior of a clock tower. You can see the clock tower, or you can see the clock on the wall. Oliver Queen, of course, who's appearing in the frame, is Justin Hartley.
All those hostile takeovers haven't aged you a bit. Tell me, what's your secret?
Well, perhaps I should give some credit to a nightly nip. This 40-year-old Highland Scotch certainly helps to smooth the stress. I vigorously recommend it. Welcome to Metropolis, Oliver.
It's a nice gesture. So I guess I shouldn't be surprised, should I? You've always been so generous.
You know, Oliver, when I read in the papers, Oliver Queen moves to Metropolis, I was very curious. I mean, you've made such a name for yourself in Star City. Why would you relocate?
Well, how can you resist these views? Not to mention the crisp Midwestern air.
A chance to touch base with my son.
Man.
Haven't had a chance. Been meaning to.
It's nice. It's refreshing.
How is old Lex doing, by the way? Has he finally managed to step out of your shadow?
No, he's changed a lot since your boarding school days together.
Well, we all have. You know what, Lionel? You've inspired me. I'm going to give him a call. Yeah. I'll call him today.
You could have a hard time reaching him. Lex, it seems, has been abducted.
He's been abducted. My God.
Oh, Olive, I remember in the Excelsior school place, you were always so good, so convincing.
Lionel, I'm involved in a lot of business ventures, as you know. But I can assure you, kidnapping is not one of them.
I remember you have an unpleasant history with my son, and I know Queen Industries had the only working satellite on Dark Thursday. I know, Oliver. You've suffered through a lot in your young life. But if you have so much as laid a hand on Lex, the word suffer will take on a whole new meaning to you.
Sounds like a threat.
Have a pleasant stay in Metropolis, Oliver. However brief it is.
And that's our introduction to Oliver Queen, who will be a major character moving forward.
Oliver Queen.
Queen, god damn.
Justin Hartley immediately has more charm and charisma than almost anyone else in the show, save for John Glover.
Yes.
Like, I wonder, people seem to act better with John Glover because he's so good. I wonder if that was a strategic, like, let's start him out with Glover.
Right. And some of those line reads, I know that you could not hear that clip. We'll fix that for next time. But some of those line reads, I think in a vacuum, as I just heard them, were a little silly. But in the context of the episode, it's like, oh my God, someone wants to be here. Someone's excited to be here. Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, I also think he immediately has a character.
Yes.
And he seems like he knows the character immediately.
Yes.
Which is always nice when they don't just, like, the first few episodes we're just figuring out who the person is. Like, he immediately comes with a take.
1,000,000%. Justin Hartley, of course, played Aquaman in the Goff and Miller's Aquaman pilot that did not feature, is his name Sam Richardson? No, Sam Richardson is the comedian who is fantastic.
Rickson?
It might be Alan.
Yeah.
He's Reacher. He was also Raphael in the Michael Bay Ninja Turtles. Who was basically the guy who was in Smallville did not get the part for the pilot. The Aquaman pilot did not go through. And it seems like they maybe found a spot for him on Smallville.
They were like, we need to give him something to do.
Right.
I think this is also when they threw in the towel on Batman. They were like, fuck it, we're going to do Green Arrow.
Part of me still wishes it was Batman. But also, I think Green Arrow, you have more room to play than you have with Batman. Right?
Yes, definitely. It is interesting to watch these episodes with him and kind of think, what if this was Batman? It would have to be different.
It would have to be different. And
they would have to do so many other rule following bullshit like this. Like you said, no one gives a fuck about Green Arrow at this point in time. They can do whatever the fuck they want.
Right. And even today, Green Arrow is a there's no movement on a Green Arrow movie, it's
right. Well, they had this successful show that because of this show,
right. So Green Arrow is definitively a TV character still in 2024. Don't get me wrong. I would love for this to be Batman, but Batman's got his own shit going on.
Yeah. Well, and Green Arrow is essentially a Batman knockoff. I mean, it's Batman.
It's Batman again.
But
it's Batman again.
Yeah, maybe less brooding.
Right. I do, speaking of Batman, do believe our Clark Kent meets Batman in the season 11 comics, which we're gonna have to track down and read someday. We have to. Yeah. That's I don't know if you're familiar with like the term of post game. It's for after video games. I guess I know that's also for like football, for like coverage, but in a video game, you beat Pokemon. There's still stuff to do, but like you've beaten the game. But there's still stuff to do. But you've beaten the game. That's the season 11 comics. We've beaten the game when we finish the series finale.
Absolutely, yeah.
But like we might do the comics.
Yeah. I like to call it aftercare.
There you go. All right, we have a couple of paragraphs left. I'll just read that paragraph real fast to sum up what we saw there. Lionel arrives at a loft apartment belonging to Oliver Queen, an old schoolmate of Lex. Lionel reveals to Oliver that he knows Oliver owned the only working satellite during Dark Thursday. He knows that Oliver has an unpleasant history with Lex and hints that if Oliver did something to Lex, he will regret it. Oliver is unfazed by this threat. The clock tower that Oliver lives in, we do not see an establishing shot that I remember. I was just browsing through it.
No, not yet. Yeah.
Right. We just see John Glover entering the interior set. But the clock tower that will be used as Oliver Queen's establishing shot was 2 blocks from my apartment. If you go 2 blocks to the left, that was where
Granville,
I lived.
right?
On Granville, or just off Granville. I think it was like that.
But the clock tower is on Granville.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Or you could see it from Granville. It was like right there. I remember.
Correct. I have not.
Very nice clock tower. Not big enough to have a loft apartment.
I don't think so. But like, also, if I was location scouting in Vancouver, I'd be like, yeah, somebody lives up there.
For sure. Yeah.
Correct choice.
Yes. Yeah.
Clark arrives at the Daily Planet again, looking and feeling even worse. Quarantine! He admits to Chloe that he was too tired to super speed all the way there and jogged the rest of the way. He asks her to look up Pontius and briefly mentions how cold Lana was to him. Chloe sympathizes with her sick friend. She tells Clark that he's too sick to go alone and takes him to the address. At Pontius' office, Clark sees a hidden door, but he can't get enough energy to rip the wall down. Chloe tells him to sneeze it down, but he claims he can't do it on command. She suggests he blow it down. Clark is skeptical, but he tries anyway, and his surprise is successful. They enter the office and find the location to the warehouse. Clark says that since he is sick, he can't guarantee Chloe's safety and speeds away without her, because he can do that now.
If he doesn't have enough energy to push the door open, he does to blow it open? I don't know.
I don't know.
I got some questions. I got questions,
Smallville. All right, so Lana arrives at the warehouse, but Block finds...
To be clear, Smallville's answer to our questions is, you're fucking crazy. That's crazy. You're insane.
You're insane. Also, this was like 20 years ago. What are you doing? We don't know you shit. Lana arrives at the warehouse, but Block finds her outside and takes her into the caged area. They threaten to test the serum from Luthor Corp on Lana. Lex tells them to test it on him, but as they are about to, he headbutts Block. A fight ensues. Lana gets loose, and he injects Block with the serum, who starts shooting the lab. A fire starts, and
these two villains look like 100 other bad guys that have been on Small.
Seriously, I was trying to figure out, is this a guy who's been...
Yeah, is this a recurring villain? No, it's just a guy. I mean, he's been in other stuff, but like, they just look...
The absolute averaging of Vancouver Central casting.
Yeah, exactly.
A fire starts and Wagner bolts, locking Lex and Lana inside. Trapped, they look on in horror as the approaching fire when it is suddenly blown out by a powerful gust of wind made by Clark, who quietly sneaks away unseen. Back at the mansion, Lana confronts Lex about the cameras and threatens to move out unless they are removed. And Lex's response is not immediately like, oh God, that looks real bad, I'm sorry, oh fuck, I didn't mean that. It's like, Lana, you've got this all wrong.
No, he's like, obviously I have cameras. There's an alien broke in last week.
Lana,
Yeah, he's
how else am I going to see your boobies?
he's like, you've forced my hand when you said you wanted your own room.
Jesus. Yep. So Lex denies invading her privacy and says he will remove the one in her room. But cameras are his way of life. That, I mean, sure, yeah, it's your house. Like, yeah,
Cameras
get rid of the
have
one
been
in
my
her
way of life
What's that?
since my cameras have been my way of life since last week when I had
At
them
least
installed.
last week. Feeling better, Clark is in his loft planning a day at Crater Lake with Chloe. Lois shows them her first byline on the front page of the Metropolis Inquisitor, a tabloid newspaper. She says she never felt happier than when writing the article and has found her calling. They invite Lois to the lake. I don't know if there's some Nietzsche elements here of like an okay. Okay, so they invite.
No one says you're definitely never going to write from the
Right. No, there's some shades of Nietzsche without actually being Nietzsche.
Yeah.
They invite Lois to the lake, but she declines because it looks cloudy. Clark and Chloe share a mischievous look. He blows the clouds away, and Lois looks up in surprise at the suddenly sunny sky. Clark, are we fucking with weather now?
I know weather patterns. You're going to cause a tornado. Bro.
This is for real, Clark. You can't fuck with that.
They live in the Midwest. I mean, that's like dangerous.
That's bad.
So I was thinking about the sneeze, and if that's any indication, Clark was correct to not have sex with Lana.
That's a good point.
They sneezed 10 times. Wasn't that what they say, or whatever the fuck?
It's a good point.
Power of
Like a shotgun through her back.
It again. There's other things you can do, buddy.
So other things you can do, big
Like,
guy.
You could just not like. You could pull out for that. I mean, you still might get her pregnant, but you if you're worried about killing her,
I mean, even then, imagine like she doesn't know, and you full like Ash from Evil Dead. Your dick is a shotgun into the like. You have a lot of splaining to do. Like, all right, you didn't do it inside of her, but like,
yeah.
that's not gonna end with like, oh, chill. Wagner shows up at Oliver Queen's apartment and reports that Block went crazy and tried to kill Lex, revealing that Oliver was indeed behind the kidnapping. Wagner remarks that another person with powers was there, and Oliver instructs him to find him. As Wagner leaves, Oliver demonstrates his archery prowess by mentioning Bornero. He launches an arrow at its location on the globe at the top of the Daily Planet, building almost a mile away, hitting Bornero as he said it would. The green arrow's here. Got him.
Yeah, let's go.
He's an exciting addition. I do think he adds quite a bit to it.
Inject some life into this.
Desperately needed.
Yes.
Zach, to sneeze means to expel a sharp blast of air through the nose involuntarily.
What? Oh, wow.
There you go.
Huh.
I'm cold reading some of the fun facts here. Oliver Queen, the 27th DC Comics character adapted to the series. Here you go. Definitely on purpose. Lois experiencing something bizarre while out jogging also happens to Lois in an episode of Superman, the animated series.
Oh my gosh.
don't
What a
need
clear callback.
We don't need everything, Wiki. We don't need everything. Lana has a bandage on her hand, which is at least some
Bare minimum.
some bare minimum effort of the fact that her hand got stabbed through. Let's see here. First appearance of Justin Hartley as Oliver Queen. He's a recurring character during season 6, a guest star during season 7, and a series regular in 8, 9, and 10. This episode sparks Lois's interest in journalism, leading to her eventual employment at the Daily Planet, of course. Lex tells Orlando Block that the serum is on the 33rd level of Luthor. This is a reference to level 33.1, which comes into play later in the season. That's it. No needle drops. Again, I know that's just the reality moving forward. I'm still disappointed that is the case. I feel like I'm missing something. But it's fine. It's fine. So that was Sneeze. Any thoughts on the episode before we move into the final phase?
It wasn't a very good episode, but I'm excited to have Green Arrow here. I mean, we're headed towards hopefully some more interesting stuff. I do remember
there has to be at least one really good episode here. There has to be at least one.
There's a few fun ones, but I also remember some stinkers coming up that it's going to be real. I think it'll be fun to talk about, actually.
The peak has happened, and I think the peak is early season 4.
Yeah, for us, yeah.
Yeah, not a common opinion. I'm realizing more and more we don't have a lot of those.
No.
And people don't love our Smallville podcast that we're just like, actually everyone else is dumb and are... Maybe our opinions are crazy. I'm personally deep down like we're right, but...
No, we're Clark. We're gaslighting the audience. Season 4 is great. What the fuck is wrong with you? You're insane. You're crazy.
We're right.
You're crazy.
We're right. Rogue One sucks. Thank you, everybody, for listening. This has been, of course, the Talon Mix. We're around. We're on your podcasting app of choice. You know that because you're listening to us on that right now. Hey, pull your phone out of your pocket. Does that podcasting app of choice have a way to indicate you enjoyed this? Perhaps a thumbs up button or a 5-star button or a way to review or like a comment you could leave? Do all of those things. Do all of them. Thank you. We really do appreciate it, and it does really, really help the show. Also, hey, we're recording this literally moments after we recorded our last episode, so if you've left any, no, it's not here. But on the YouTube, on this episode, leave some questions that you might have for the Smallville gods. I'll happily read them out and have the Smallville gods answer them for you. But in the meantime, Zach, do you have a question for the Smallville gods?
Yeah. Did Lex watch the footage of Lana changing?
Good night, everybody.